Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day you watch us here at Dr. Rob, Spirits and the Supernatural. Well, Patrick, we're halfway through our season, and I want to welcome you to the show.
How's it going, Dr. Rob?
I am fantastic. It's been like extremely hot here in Florida. It's very unusual this time of year to be above 97 degrees, but we're surviving barely.
Wow, I'm out by Cincinnati. It seems like it just cooled down over like last night. It's gotten a lot more tolerable, almost a little brisk when you're used to this hot weather.
Send us the cold down here. We need some cold weather, so it's awesome.
Okay.
Well, we have had a lot of interesting guests this past season. From the ones that we did on the radio show, and a couple of years back, you had mentioned to me about Amy Winehouse after she had passed away, and I had made a suggestion that perhaps that might be somebody to contact. So, did you have some questions in mind today?
Well, yeah, actually, can you, I know one thing you'd mentioned trying to focus on the camera was kind of a distraction for you, so don't worry about the camera or anything, because I noticed that when we used to do it when we were doing just audio, it seemed like you were able to get a lot deeper into it. So for the people viewing, he's not really going to be worried about how he looks on the camera while he's doing this. Um, do you have Amy Winehouse with us?
Yes, she is with us, Patrick.
Okay. Has she had some time to adjust since her passing in 2011?
Well, I know that when I tried to make contact with her after her passing, she was there, but she was very confused and very agitated. And I would say that now that we've given it some time, I feel really calm now that I speak to her at this time.
Okay, great. How's she been occupying her time since her passing?
I really believe that, when I touch in with her, she really isn't going anywhere in specifics like some of our guests in the past. You know, um, she really just hangs out in heaven, if you want to call it that. She really is not really ready to kind of, interact with others at the moment. And she really seems, she's not isolated in the sense that, she feels alone, but she's isolating herself so that she doesn't mix with other people's energy, or other entities, I should say.
Okay, I guess kind of like a recharge time, so to speak.
From what I understand from her, she had a really rough life when she was alive. And I think that, if you're a fan of Amy, you can kind of understand, some of her music was, on the edge. And she was always on the edge, she says, when she was alive.
Okay, does she have any happy memories at all, or was it all pretty much a lot of tragedy?
Well, when I touched in with her, I was asking her about that. And, when she was performing, she was happy, because it kind of got this negativity out of her. But she said she had a really rough childhood, and it never really got any better, from that time period.
Yeah, was it did she get along with her parents okay? I mean, I know her dad was a taxi driver and so they were probably having to work pretty hard. I think her mom was of Russian descent and
Yes. Well, her parents were really not a part of her childhood. They were there, but they really weren't that, hands-on type parents. She kind of pretty much looked after herself. And from what I understand, there was some sexual abuse from a neighbor from like the time she was like 6, 7, and that really just really messed her up on the inside.
oh, wow. That's sorry to hear that. Can she recap on maybe some of the events leading up to the time right before her death and maybe what actually happened the day of her passing? There's
Well, what I understand from her is that really it was like almost a week before she passed that she really just went on a binge, and she just says that anything she could do to numb the pain that she was feeling on the inside, she was doing. So whether it was drugs or alcohol or a combination of both, it just seems like she just had this sense of, I just want out. She had the fame and the fortune, but she never really found the happiness. Like I said, she's telling me that the only time she was really ever truly happy when she was performing. But everything that led up to that was always, very nerve wracking for her. It was really difficult for her just to stand on the stage. and she felt very paranoid, like everybody was out to get her.
Wow. In retrospect now, is she able to look at it under a little bit different light?
She says that she realizes that the things that she was doing to her body was really what was making her paranoid. But she tells me that at that last week she even felt like she was being followed. She would see people that weren't there, and she really just was afraid for her life at one point. Like somebody was going to kill her, and she wasn't eating because she felt like people were going to poison her. It was really difficult for her just to get through the day.
Wow. Now, she was once quoted as saying that she didn't necessarily believe in a higher power. Has she found that to be any different now that she's on the other side?
She kind of laughs about that because she's there and she sees what the afterlife is like, and she kind of just laughs at herself for even making that comment. She has a really cute laugh. It's like almost like a giggle. It's not like a oh, it's like it's so there's a big difference between the two.
Now, she was still kind of on an upswing with her career. Was there anything else that she really would have liked to have accomplished that she didn't do with being cut short like she was?
She really felt like she'd obtained everything she was set out to do, And there's other music that I'm hearing from her that is yet to be released. So that might be one of the reasons why she's come forward at this time to kind of give us a heads up to, hey, there's more out there. It's not just what I recorded so far. There were other things in the works.
Yes.
So I think that possibly in the next 3 to 6 months we're going to hear more from her than what we realize. She did a lot of things behind the scenes that none of us really know about, and I think that this is something that's going to come to light.
Okay, so she must have also been watching when I was making these questions, because that was one of my questions further on down the line. Because there's been talk of producing some of her unpublished work, and yeah, if we could expect more in the future, so that pretty much answers that question. Let me go back through my sequence. Now, does she have any other lifetimes she recall? Were they all tragic, or did she have some good ones that she remembers? Or
this is really the only one that she's talking about. I can see that she's shown me pictures of previous lives, but this seems to be the one that she focuses on when she's talking to me. But I can see that when I look at her past lives, the pictures that she's showing me, she's always been female, and also she's always died young, tragically.
Huh. You think some of that was she pre-selected to do then?
I believe that in this life she's given me the feeling that she pre-selected this, for this life in particular. She said it gave her an edge to her music. It gave her the pain to be able to get out some of the songs that she got out, and really I feel like this was just what was meant to be.
Wow, very fascinating. What kind of advice or a message would she maybe have for her fans? Because she still has quite a following and probably will for, decades to come.
I really think that she just wants people to be happy. She says that a lot of her problem was she couldn't talk. She couldn't trust anybody. And she said if you have a problem, go to them, go to find someone you can trust and talk about it. She said that, she kept a lot of things inside that weren't necessarily needed to be inside, but she just didn't find anybody that she could actually share with. She said everybody from the time she was a kid, just used her and threw her away. And that's kind of how she felt up until the moment she passed over to the other side.
Okay. That's good advice then. From her point of view, where does she see the overall music industry going in the future?
Really, she doesn't really make any comments about that. Really, she says that styles change, genres change. What's popular today is not popular tomorrow. She says that really for her, she was in her realm at the moment, but she said if she would still be alive today, she may not even be popular anymore.
I doubt that, but yeah, I see what she's saying. Um, really? So, I mean, is she planning on coming back anytime soon, or is she going to sit it out for a while?
I'm not getting that feeling. I'm not getting the feeling of wanting to be recycled. I think she just wants to rest. I think she wants to take some time. I don't really see her coming back in the next couple of generations. It could be 75 years before she comes back again.
Okay. Well, probably even when she comes back, I bet her music will still be around in some form. Well, you
I
want to.
think, Patrick, when I go back to what I was saying before about her not being popular, we don't really know what her popularity would be today because, once somebody passes over to the other side, like Kurt Cobain, for example,
Right.
he still has fans only because he died young and, he was at the top of his game. So I think that sometimes these performers, when they're at the top, they leave, because of the fact they don't want to have the decline. And, we know what we're going to get into prior to coming to this life. And so I believe that, some of these other stars who have died young, like we did Corey a few weeks ago, he was at the top of his game, but, would he have stayed there? And I think that's the question that, only eternity can answer. And I believe that's the answer to some of these, young stars that are just giving up and dying. It's like, what a tragedy. What's the reasoning? Well, maybe it's because they didn't want to be less than what they were. There's a lot of stars out there that reach the top, especially, some of the ones that we grew up with in the 80s and 90s that we hardly ever hear from anymore. Like John Johnson and, some of the others, from the popular 80s shows. They were at the top of their game, and now, they're not there anymore. Tom Hanks is one of the exceptions to the rule. He's still really popular, and he's now in his 60s. So we don't really know, for sure, but this is the answer that I'm getting, or at least the impression I'm getting.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, kind of the old philosophy of better to leave on a high note, and go off the stage. Yeah.
Yeah, and we think about Marilyn Monroe. Would she be as popular today as she was back then? No, she'd just be like any other star. She had her time, and Judy Garland, she had her time. So, we look at, the future stars and we say, well, how long will they be around? Some stay, for generation to generation, and others, they're a flash in the pan of life.
So some of them are just like shooting stars, basically. So
Yeah,
enjoy them while they're here.
exactly, exactly.
Well, it's been very nice having her here. And is there anything else she wants to add?
She just says, just stay true to yourself, the music. That's what she says. So, and she's kind of shaking her head like this, like she's like rocking out on the other side. I'm kind of laughing about it. But we do want to thank you for co-hosting today, and whether you listen to us in the morning, the afternoon, the evening, thank you.